I love Kirby. I don't think that's going to be a surprise to anyone. I have tried my hardest to cram a stupid pink ball into every single video I make. Honestly, I don't think I'll ever stop talking about this series. There's so much to talk about, from the games, to the music, to of course, the characters. There's just so much in this series that I love to talk about. I think about this series about 90% of the time, to the point where my brain has literally just became Kirby. Kirby is one of the few franchises I'm like really a part of the fan base of. So I have injected into my veins so many fan theories, fan fiction, fan art, fans. I have literal fans coming out of my body. But this has turned an admittedly quite simple franchise into, I don't even know. So that's basically what this video is. I love the characters from Kirby, and I think about them constantly. Way more than it's healthy to. So I'm just going to overanalyze every single Kirby character there is. At least the ones people most care about. Let's commence. Obviously we have to start with Kirby. Kirby might be the single most overanalyzed character in existence. We all know by now that he's got infinite power, and he's connected to the villains, and he's a child that's 200 years old. Is there anything else we can talk about with him? Well, actually, there's one. How smart is Kirby? That seems like a weird thing to focus on, but really think about it. Kirby constantly makes things worse for everyone. He never listens to Midnight or Dedede, despite them being his own friends. Constantly gets tricked by shady characters like Marx or Magolor, and despite his age and appearance, can't talk much. Despite that though, he's one of the most capable fighters in all video games, able to think of strategies with new fighting styles he's never used on the fly, pilot a variety of vehicles masterfully, and can even convince a good majority of his enemies to become his friend. Seriously, there's two outcomes for villains in Kirby. Become friends with him, or have your soul itself destroyed. Sometimes both. Why is that? Well, think of this. What if Kirby's adaptation is part of his intelligence as well? The second he gets a new ability, he immediately gets information on how to use it. Same with vehicles. They're just instantly transmitted to his brain. That's just how he evolved. Kirby's already the strongest being in the galaxy. He's just adapting to remain at top. Why just go with everything everyone tells him? Because he's Kirby, gosh dang it. What are they gonna do? Kill him? That's probably why anyone lucky enough to survive an encounter with him immediately becomes his friend. They're not dumb enough to fight him again. Kirby is extremely simple-minded. He just wants to hang out and eat. He'll do anything to achieve these two goals. And if there's something in his way, he'll just rip it to shreds. That's just the Kirby way. So what's even up with Midnight? Yeah, he's the same species as Kirby, but that's just kind of strange, right? Like, he's nothing like Kirby personality-wise. You say it's because he's older, but that wouldn't explain some things like why he constantly loses, or why he's got arms. Some say it's because he's actually trying to test Kirby out in all his appearances. That's why he gives you a sword in most of his fights. That makes sense in a handful of games, but most he's possessed, so it doesn't really fit. It could just be because he's a good guy watching over Kirby. In games like Superstar, he tries to take over Dreamland, so it's not really that either. Maybe it's just because he's gay for Dedede. Actually, yeah, no, that's canon. But why does he have arms? Is that just how Kirby's evolved? Kirby's already pretty advanced, so what can growing arms give to him? Same with fingers. When they reach 1,500 years old, will they grow ankles, or will they just finally become human? Is Midnight peak physical condition? Yes. Yes, he is. King Dedede is the most relatable Kirby character when you think about it. It feels like everything he's ever done is just so he can get a friend. Think about it. He proclaimed himself king just so he can attract people to work for him. Treats his closest worker, Dedede, with respect, and when he's finally on the side of good, he's pretty nice to Kirby. Pretty forgiving when you remember all the times he's beaten Dedede up. He seems annoyed with Kirby in a lot of his appearances, but even then, he always joins in with whatever he's doing. The last truly evil thing Dedede did was in Battle Royale. He was just being greedy and not giving Kirby his cake, but that's about it. But think about it this way. This is a game where Dedede officially went from Dedede's best friend to Kirby's. He's probably salty about losing his bestie. And besides, that's a side game. The most recent main series game where he was truly antagonistic was Superstar Ultra, a remake of a game, and Ultra came out in 2008. He's really a nice guy when you get to know him. Heck, even in Adventure, his second appearance, he was a good guy, protecting the world from an evil wizard man, and giving all his friends pieces of the Star Rod, including Midnight, who again, he is totally gay for. Just remember, if this loser of penguin can get friends, so can you. Okay, I want you to think of underdog story. Actually, no, I don't want to think of underdog story. I want you to think of a character, any character, your favorite character. And I want you to take that character and throw him in the garbage can, because they're nothing compared to Dedede. As a character both in the games and in the real world, he's gone through an arc not even Noah can imagine. He first appeared in Superstar as a throwaway character, nothing more or less. Then he appeared in the remake, same thing, but more. It's revealed he's Dedede's trusted second in command. He's also a complete pushover, being able to be taken out just by walking into him. But as he continued to appear, he gained confidence, becoming more than just, as some people will say, a Goomba with a hat. He's brave, he is courageous, He's the best friend you could ever ask for. I have more to talk about with this guy, but I'm saving it for a future video. So under here. I love this decapitated monkey head more than I will love my future son. Please show him this whenever he's born. Magolor is a little weird to nail down. At first he seems like the nicest guy you ever meet, then he's Satan, then every other game he's appeared in, he's the nicest guy you ever meet, or he's trying to sell us something. So yeah, Satan. What's up with him? Well, I like to think Magolor was always a nice guy. It's a crown problem. Think about it. He was perfectly fine when we first met him, then he puts a crown on and he tries to kill us. The crown seems to be sentient, it pulsates in the boss fight, and it almost seems to speak to him. The crown also appears in the fight with Void Terminal and Star Allies, meaning it's likely connected to dark matter, which would make sense considering Magolor's soul very much resembles him. We all know by now that dark matter can possess anyone. Maybe they have something to do with this. It also implies that the crown is made by the ancients, a very old race of, we don't really know actually, who are very mysterious, but we do know that they are quite intelligent and have made a lot of technology throughout the series, like Nova and Stardream. Also, Highness is one of them. The ancients kicked him out because he was being super evil and doing evil experiments, likely somehow connected to Dark Matter and Zero, since he was trying to revive them as Star Allies. Do you think one of the things he did was making the crown? It would make sense. He was kicked out for being evil and stuff, and again, the whole Void Termina thing. As for how Landia got his claws on it, not sure. Though Halicandra is pretty far off from the world, and Landia has a reputation for being powerful. Maybe the agents gave it to him hoping no one would ever take it. Crown likely has some long-range telepathy though, so was able to talk to and convince Magolor to get it. Magolor was always a good boy. He was just corrupted by something made by Highness. It's all connected. I'm pretty sure everyone has at least one character that no matter what canon says, they will always view as a different way in their mind. For me, that's Marx. In the games, he tricks Kirby to gain power, and in Star Allies he joins up with him. In the Japanese version, it's to stop Void from taking over the world before he can, and in the translated version, it's because he's hungry. The fandom, however, has turned him into a full-blown meme. He's a prankster who only does what he wants solely to entertain himself. The only thing really in canon, and I use that very loosely, that hints towards this is this one picture of him and Magolor, which also leads to the popular headcanon that Marx and Magolor are good friends. Basically, Marx is the red Oni to Magolor's blue Oni. Magolor just kind of watches while Marx does all of his pranks. Think like Muscle Man High Five Ghost. Someone please draw that. Maybe Magolor's shop is just a way to get money to pay for Marx's snacks, like a true best friend. When it comes to Adeline, there's only one thing to talk about. What is she? The obvious idea is that she's human, and that makes sense because in her second appearance, or first, I believe that her and Adu are the same, so second appearance. There's a level called Stripper Star, which is Earth. I have mentioned this godforsaken theory 3 times. I really hope I never have to talk about it again. Basically, it's a frozen over Earth and there's remains of human society there. Adeline likely came from Earth to Top Star to continue her art career, also to escape death from snow, but mostly because of art. This may explain why she's so much weaker than the rest of the game, to a point where just touching Kirby knocks her out. Top Starians are just built different. But I've always wondered a couple things about her. For one, how did she escape Earth? I have no idea, honestly. But also, if she survived, did any other humans? Well, maybe. The 3 maid sisters have a backstory that Highness found them seconds before death and saved them. Specifically, he saved Francesca from freezing, which would make sense considering the Earth froze over, Flamberge, who almost burned alive in a blazing inferno, which I don't really think you connect to Earth freezing over, and then there's Zan Partisan, who was struck by lightning. Sounds pretty frightening. Reason their chances were so small. Anyways, that could happen in a frozen over Earth, or it could not. It's lightning. Maybe they're humans who Highness did some sort of test on, which moved their arms and legs. I don't know. Susie is even stranger. We know nothing about her species at all, but she looks human and we know she was roboticized, so maybe? But her father, Haltman, looks nothing like a human, so probably not. Humans and Kirby are pretty unexplored, and if there's any aspect of Kirby I'd like to explore, it's this. It'll never happen, but a man can dream. Okay, before I get into this next statement, I would like to preface that Taranza is one of my absolute favorite characters of all time. He's got a great design, he's fun to play as his Star Allies, he's adorable, I love him, he helped me bond with one of my friends, that's a story for a different time, but I love Taranza. He is also one of the biggest simps in fiction history. His story is that he's dating Sectonia, who at the time was the same species as him. As a gift, he gives her a mirror, which ends up being the dimensional mirror, which contains dark midnight, who corrupts her. She becomes a bee for some reason. More importantly, she becomes super controlling and manipulative, and tries immediately to take over Floria. Okay, so you're Taranza. You majorly fricked up. Your girlfriend is a psychopath. What do? Easy! You join her and you do literally everything she says without hesitation, of course. Spider Sectonia was described as being a pretty decent person overall, so I feel like Taranza should know something's up. But no, he just allows it. When Sectonia finds out only a certain hero can stop her, he just goes along with it. Like, dude, use your brain. He continues snipping for a majority of the game until Suctonia shows her true colors and attacks him. He pretty quickly changes sides after that, and then goes to live a happy life. Or not. In Kirby Clash, he goes mad and he himself gets corrected by the mirror, which isn't very cool, yo. It's implied that he's doing something with the mirror to resurrect Suctonia, but failed. Kirby managed to save him before it was too late, though. You'd think he'd finally realize the errors of his ways, but nope! In Star Allies, he returns to help Kirby. Why? Because he's thanking his friend who saved him twice? Nope! It's to take a wild guess, find Suctonia. Again! We're reaching more levels of simpery here, people. Okay, maybe that's a little too far. He still obviously misses her, but he does try to move on finally. On the title screen, he tries to hook up with some of the female characters, notably Susie, which I think is quite thematic. Both lost something important to them and are trying to find something to fill it up. Honestly, I think these two work together. Yet another Kirby ship I ship. I hope one day my precious Spider Boy will be happy. You know, I just realized I've been talking about shipping a lot in this video. Like, that wasn't even my intention. I don't care about shipping at all. Except for Kirby. I don't know why. I guess just because I love Kirby so much. But obviously, I love Kirby, so I want Kirby to find love. Which leads to the question, who is Kirby's one true love? Well, the fandom ships him with literally everyone. Meta Knight, Dedede, Dedede, Susie, Marx, Magolor, Adeline, Adeleine, Taranza, freaking Void Termina. There are two where he's been officially paired with though, Ribbon and Choo Choo. Ribbon is pretty explicit. In 64 it hit it off pretty well. Ribbon is quite friendly and awkward towards Kirby and vice versa. And that was a kiss in the end, which was quite possibly the single cutest moment in the entire franchise. For Choo Choo, well, she's hanging out with him in the parasol, which is adorable, but you can do the same with Gooey. She's pretty overprotective of Kirby in cutscenes. And while most of the other animal friends have their significant others appear when they rescue him, Choo Choo just has a friend, so maybe she's saving a spot for a certain pink Pac-Man. Yeah, these are pretty weak. Ribbon and Chloe has the most chemistry with Kirby. Right when they lock eyes, they're already great buddies. Ribbon literally helped Kirby fight the devil in this game, and again, them blushing after they kiss is just the cutest. So, I can say without a shadow of doubt that Kirby's one true love is Dedede. Okay, so Gryll seems like a weird character to talk about considering that her game never got localized, but there's a lot to talk about here. For one, Gryll is the stupidest name ever created. For two, Gryll is pretty unique when it comes to Kirby characters. They're one of the few major characters who don't have to confirm gender. When Suctonia was released, something came out saying that she was the second female Kirby boss, first being Drossia, and Gryll has been left off of all the art the official Kirby Twitter account has made featuring all the female characters. But in the game, they refer to Gryll as a tomboy, so it's kind of up in the air. Then there's their whole deal in the game. Gryll is considered a villain in the game, but are they? All they do is come in when Kirby says they're good at playing Tetris. Imagine it this way. You're in school, and you and your friends are playing rock, paper, scissors. Then this foreign exchange student, Phil, comes in. And Phil's like, you cannot defeat me, because Phil is an anime villain for some reason. I am the god at rock, paper, scissors. But then you ruin him with your superior rock, paper, scissors skill. Does that make Phil a bad person? Or just someone who majorly estimated how seriously good you take a very simple game? Yes, that's a metaphor for this video, shut up. Basically, I don't think Gryll deserves a bad reputation. They're just someone who loves the game, and gamers should not be discriminated against more than we already are. Gryll should be brought back, honestly. Kirby games are known for their extremely cute characters and fun innocence, which raises the question, of all the Kirby characters, who is the most good? Who is the purest boy? Well, first we got narrowed it down. I feel like the only characters who have a shot at being the purest Kirby character are the Star Allies, and some miscellaneous plot-relevant characters like Adeleine and Prince Fluff. Well, first of all, I think it's pretty easy to knock off like 75% of the characters. For a series about the embodiment of pure goodness, a lot of the characters are just meanie head trick faces. Even though I literally just brought them in, I'm gonna eat off the non-Star Allies due to them only appearing in one game and not getting enough time to really showcase how pure they can be, and for lacking the amount of good deeds the others have. So that leaves us with 8. And it gets quite hard now, since the bean level of these guys are off the charts. Adeline I'll knock off next. She's fought off against Kirby twice, but she was possessed both times, so I won't hold them against her. However, she was shown to be quite cowardly. When you're dealing with characters this pure, you gotta split hairs. I'm sorry, Adeline. Ribbon I'll eliminate next, mostly because she just hangs off of other characters instead of really independently trying to save the world like most of the others. Dedede, God, I really want to give him this award so much. As you may know, Dedede deserves an award, but this won't be the one he gets. I appreciate loyalty, but working with Dedede and trying to take over Dreamland is going to go on your permanent record. Then there's Kirby himself. Listen, no one has done more good in this series than Kirby. He's stopped countless Eldritch Abominations just because it's the right thing to do. But I have to weigh everything the characters have done, and as I've said before, Kirby does tend to jump to conclusions a lot, and can tend to make things worse at points. I love the guy, but he's very much a think later, reduce their bloodline to rubble now kind of guy. Then there's 2. Gooey and the animal friends. All of these guys want nothing more than to help save the world. But Rick, Kine, and Koo get upset when you pick a different friend over them, showing jealousy. It's extremely minor, but it's the equivalent of burning down your entire town compared to anything Gooey has done. This blob has no bad bones in his body, or bones at all. He has the same drive to save the world that Kirby has, and the drive to help that animal friends have, and there's nothing to hold him back. He's stupid, yes, but it never holds him back. Gooey is the definition of no thoughts, head empty. He just wants everyone to be happy, and that's pretty great knowing he's the spawn of the devil himself, Dark Matter. It goes to show you that your past and upbringing doesn't matter. It's what you do now, even if your father is literally Cthulhu. Well, there's a yin to every yang. We talk about the most good character. Who is the most evil character? Well, 3 jumped out to me. Void Termina is the embodiment of evil. He has no mind outside of destroy. The Dark Matters and Zero are already pure evil, but at least they're smart. Void has nothing but the idea of destruction. But there's 2 more villains that I feel like you could actually argue are worse than this. Necrotius has one goal: wipe out all of life on Earth and replace it with evil shadow dudes. In other words, genocide. Stardium wants to get rid of all organic beings. Once again, genocide. Very fun thing to talk about in a kid's game. I don't think I really need to explain that genocide is pretty bad. He also has another knock to him since he corrupted Holtman, who just wanted to find his daughter, and that this happened to him. Honestly, I probably should have talked about Holtman in this too. There's a lot to say there. Honestly though, when it comes to these 3, it's too hard to tell. What is it worth in your opinion? Actively deciding to do the most heinous thing you can think of, or knowing nothing but evil? That's something too hard for even me to decide. These 3 are definitely the most villainous beings in Kirby. But as for who's truly the most lemons, I can't tell.